Morning. I'm going to take another stab at this palette knife painting. How's that for an early morning pun? Second session, and hoping to make some really good progress, but I'm not going to be painting for very long this morning in all likelihood. I'm going to focus on lighting up the foreground, pushing back the background, creating some more recognizable structure to this gazebo. And that'll probably be all I can do for today. But you never know. Some days almost by accident are super productive. Just not thinking that that's today. Let's see. Got my coffee. Which a lot of people say is not necessarily good for a painter, but or creativity in general. I don't know. I enjoy it too much to give it up. So, a couple passages of yellow ochre. Before I do anything though, I want to tint that roof. I just feel like that's something that I want to tend to. So I'm going to put a little bit of transparent orange oxide on my palette. A little bit of, what's the equivalent of like cad red light on my palette. And then big blob of yellow ochre, which will drag across that foreground, probably along with some white. All right. I'm going to use my Bob Ross special here. I don't know what the actual name of that knife is, but or any of these knives for that matter. So I'm going to mix up a little bit of my transparent orange oxide and cad red. And we're just going to get some touches of that on this roof. All right, I lost my reference, that's okay. Just wanted that point of reference. All right, now I'm going to go into my cad yellow. I have a little bit of that orange in there, and that's okay. Just going to drag this across. The lawn here, if I cover up some of the marks indicating people, that's fine. Scrape a lot of this off. Because the light, even though this is later in the day, is filtering down from the sky, this ground plane is going to be brighter than the vertical plains that make up the trees and the mountains even in the background, even though those are lit up to some degree. Using all the existing texture because all this paint is dry from the first passage, and we're just getting it in there using that texture to create some interesting shapes here. This morning I actually woke up early for a brief moment and was thinking about this painting, and the thought that came to mind was whether or not I should, or to what degree I should hint toward the existence of the river flowing on behind here. You know, when the river's low, you don't actually see it from this vantage point, or even when it's running at its normal height. Create some marbleized paint here. So I think at the time that we were visiting, when I took this reference photo, the river was either low or at its normal depth, and you couldn't necessarily see it. But what I might be inclined to do, and I don't have to make this decision yet, is subtly hint toward the river existing as opposed to just ignoring that. It plays such a significant role in this scene. I feel kind of weird ignoring that, so I will think about that for a little bit. And that color is going to shift. We'll bring more variance to it, but I just needed to lighten it up because in reality it's a lot lighter than that dark sap green kind of color that I had there. Okay, so now I'm going to mix up. I'm not even looking at my reference at this point, but I'll bring it back up here in a moment. I'm going to mix up a little bit of light purple, and we're going to mix that in with our existing colors here and a little bit of white. I'm going to continue with this palette knife. Green and orange to gray it out a little bit. Reads. Okay. Good. And this too will come over a few times, so this is not the final destination when it comes to this color. felt like it was really important to kind of go through the shift early, because I want to create layers and layers of texture. So I want some of those green bits poking through. Lots of broken edges. Juxtaposition of blues and yellows, or purples and yellows for that matter, is always, for some reason, pretty attractive. It reads well. And I don't want to get in the business of adding too many sky holes and things now, but we'll put some of them in there. Indicating that you could see some of that mountain through some of the tree shapes. And I'll get some of this into the foreground. Okay. All right, we're gonna mess with the sky a little bit. Probably get some of this purple while I have it into the shadow areas of these clouds. Maybe there's a transitional color here. The highlights into the darker shadow patterns. Having kind of a psychedelic moment here by accident. Here. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, I did it. All right.
Good to see you.
Okay, you? I thought you were good.
Good.
Huh?
Slightly bothered. I don't need to have a second serving of dinner every night. So I guess maybe it is your fault. Because you make dinner taste so good. Itchy. Itchy, itchy. see how this reads. A little bit further away. Okay. We're getting there. If you're just joining, Open Studio live stream. Not a lot of explaining or talking, I'm just working. Today we're working on a second session for this acrylic palette knife painting. This is kind of representing a scene out here in the Poconos that we see during the warmer months. We're showing it in Golf Resort. During on weeknights, we'll host live music on their lawn. One of our favorite things to do is to pay them a visit on those days and take in scenery, listen to the music, occasionally run into a neighbor, and maybe have a beer from Shawnee Craft Brewery. These are good days when we get to do this most days, so. Alright. Gonna rinse off my palette. We're gonna reboot my reference photo. But before I do that, I gotta rinse off my palette. I'll be right back. Dry off my palette so there's not excess water in my palette knife. Alright. What do we do next? Get some lighter greens into the lawn and into, probably just into the lawn. I'll leave those mountains alone. Lighter green and lighter blue. I'm going to start with lighter blue because, oh, maybe not. I'm going to start with pure white. And we're going to get titanium white because we have warm white in the clouds. We're going to get some titanium white in there so it can dry a little bit, and then I can cut in with the blue later to help refine the cloud shapes. So a little bit of pure white and a little bit of lighter green. which will get into the lawn and some of the tree shapes in the distant background closer to the river. Might play around with the people shapes a little bit. And that's it. We'll probably wrap up after another 30 minutes or so, in all likelihood here. And then definitely going to need at least one more session. Alright, let me get some of that titanium white on here. I just put in an order for some more because I'm starting to run low with my heavy bodied titanium white. Let's see. Also going to get there you go, Titan Buff. So this is a different version of the warm white. And then I'm going to mix up my own green. There'll be a little bit of phthalo blue and cadmium yellow light. Okay, I'm going to start with the white. I'm going to use my little round guy here. Oh, I lost my reference. I want that back because I really like the cloud shapes in the reference photo. And it's helpful to have that within view. Oops. Oh. Mix up some green. Get some of those white shades in there. This particular green has phthalo blue on it, so it's a really powerful color. It'll overpower this for sure for a little bit, and that's okay. Because once it dries, we will come on over the top. Okay. Thinking more about textures and shapes right now. Mix in a little bit of my Prussian blue and orange to gray this out. Okay. Looks like a big mess right now, which is good. It's a little intimidating, but generally it's a pretty good thing when we're at this point and painting feels like it could be going sideways. this case, for this painting to work, there's going to be a fair amount of abstraction. That's actually the goal here. Okay. I'm gonna wipe off this palette knife. And I'm going to get right into the palette that I have on there right now. Some yellow ochre and some white. We're going to lighten up that ground plane once again. A little bit of that green in there. Just a little. There we go. And with any amount of luck, the next session we'll be able to work on the shapes representing the people. Probably not going to get to that today. All right, I think we're going to leave it here. I have a little mental checklist that's formulating in my head. We're going to enhance the blue, the transition from cool to a warmer blue on that sky plane behind the clouds. We're going to punch through and break up this huge, massive shape a little bit so it looks a little bit more like a cloud. We were going to bring more color variance and darken the trees in the foreground, especially toward the base here. We're going to create the illusion of detail in the gazebo. We're going to create more textures in the grass and start enhancing the shapes intended to represent people. We'll bring more color variance and maybe a little luminosity and some splashes of sunlight on the mountain in the background, and maybe a little hint of water representing the Delaware River kind of peeking through there. And I think within a session or two we could have this pretty close to done. This is my first attempt at a painting executed completely with a palette knife. Showing you on the Delaware during one of their live music events, I think on Tuesday evenings in the summer is when they hold these. That's what the scene is based upon. You can see their gazebo. And we're going through in just a couple of days, we're probably going through about a month's worth of paint with this one. It's definitely one of the disadvantages of this style of painting, but it is uniquely beautiful. Pure color. A lot of texture and very impressionistic style of painting. So yeah, very bright. Yeah, definitely Huckleberry Z, light green. So the brand of paint that I'm using is kind of a mix. Mostly golden, a little bit of artist touch, and Liquitex as well for my grays and my blacks, which I don't have a lot of in here. But for those bright colors, it's mostly golden. They're heavy-bodied artist series paint, so it is a little bit more expensive, but I think it's worth it. Even though I have limited experience painting with acrylics, definitely having a good experience. So mushroom time, I appreciate that. Appreciate you guys checking out my live stream. With any bit of luck, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll get close to finishing this painting tomorrow. Probably another 2 or 3 sessions in total before we wrap this up, but appreciate you checking out my work. And I hope you have a wonderful day and stay well. In the meantime, I'll try to keep on painting. Have a great day.